Good evening, everybody. My name is Zain Ali. I'm an Education USA advisor from our Pakistan office in Islamabad. I hope you're all well and safe and healthy. Today, we have a graduate funding at NYU Abu Dhabi session with Karl, who's the Senior Assistant Director and Head of Graduate Recruitment at NYU Abu Dhabi. Could you go to the next slide, please?
Yes.
So just a little bit about us, who we are before we start our session. Education USA is a global network under the US Department of State, made up of over 425 international student advising centers in more than 175 countries. We are your official source to US higher education through Education USA advisors, working with advisees to provide updated, comprehensive, and unbiased information on higher education in the United States. Could you go to the next slide? Okay, what is USCFB? In Pakistan, we are part of USCFB, which is also the Fulbright Commission of the country. USCFB promotes mutual understanding between the people of Pakistan and the people of the United States through educational cultural exchange. We have offices in Islamabad, Lahore, Karachi, but are available for any student that needs support or advising throughout Pakistan through email or call. Given the current COVID-19 situation, Education USA used to be completely virtual, but now we're returning to some in-person events as well. And anyone can easily access our free advising sessions and services online. Just a little bit about today's panelists. Karl is the head of graduate recruitment at NYU Abu Dhabi. NYU Abu Dhabi provides pioneering graduate programs for students wanting to engage in world-class global education at one of the world's most diverse campuses, coordinating the application process for programs in sciences, engineering, economics, and fine art. Karl is here to help you in finding the program that is the right fit for you and guide you through the application process. I'm now going to hand over the presentation to Karl and he can continue. And
Great.
Before we start, everyone, we will have a Q&A session at the end. So just keep your questions for the end. We will have a moment for you to ask those questions.
Yeah, hi. So thanks, Zane. Thanks for the introduction. My name is Karl Kalinkewicz. I work here at NYU Abu Dhabi, and we have a lot of exciting graduate programs that cover a number of different areas. And so I want to talk to you a little bit more about those today, about scholarships that we have available for these programs, and just about the application process. If you do have any questions, again, please feel free to type them into the chat. I will open up for a Q&A at the end of the session. So to give you a little bit of knowledge about NYU Abu Dhabi, I figured I would start by showing you a video that's highlighting some of our graduate programs in our campus here. So let me press play. Oops. Maybe we're not doing that video. Give me 1 second and let me just share it through my other presentation. Sorry for the technical issue here. Just pull this up. I swear it's a very exciting video. Shows the size. Just take a little bit to load.
NYU Abu Dhabi is committed to doing.
Share screen. Thanks for staying with me here.
NYU Abu Dhabi is committed to doing cutting-edge research, and for that you need academic. NYU Abu Dhabi is committed to doing cutting-edge research, and for that you need academic freedom. You need creativity. You need to be able to propose, what you think is the most important ideas to try to pursue.
New York University is called a global network university. Globalism is not just a branding, but it's really about how we bring people together and what happens when they come together.
One of the interesting things of NYU Abu Dhabi is that it's able to have really impactful research, but not be an absolutely gigantic scale. Students can actually connect very easily with students in other disciplines, be able to go to the seminars of other areas. And in this way, it's much more effective to generate possible new solutions to more interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary problems that are out there.
We're small, it's true we're growing. The idea is that we will grow so that we continue to be able to have these cross-campus collaborations. You know, it's a 2 minute walk between my office and the office of somebody in computer science. I often meet them over lunch by coincidence. And so it's very easy to have these kind of impromptu conversations.
NYU Abu Dhabi is a great place to be. We can sit outside for long hours and chat. I also enjoy living in Abu Dhabi a lot. October to April is the best time to be here. And this also shows in the life at the university. You see people enjoying themselves. They go jogging, they go walking around the campus.
The Saidiyat Island as a place to live is incredible, I think. And the fact that we have on-campus housing as an option is pretty nice. Apartments are very big, they're airy, they're modern, have floor-to-ceiling windows. The sunsets are gorgeous on Saidiyat Island. So you could be underground all day in your studio and then go up to watch this really beautiful sunset on the water from your apartment.
Students here get to really work on problems that are at the cutting edge of knowledge. We have the possibility for our students to be really immersed into the specialized knowledge networks around the world. They go to conferences, they present their work. People get excited by the results that they are producing. And that makes them, you know, really attractive to go on to further positions, both in academia and in industry.
Let me stop my share there and go back to the other presentation that I have. But as you see, yeah, NYU Abu Dhabi, our campus, we're a part of what NYU calls the global network. And what that means is that whether you are at our campus in Abu Dhabi, or whether you are at the campus in New York or in Shanghai or one of the other 11 locations that we have around the world, you're still getting the same quality education. You know, we are currently ranked as number 24 by Times Higher Education as best universities. Oops, here we go, slideshow. Yeah, and we're back. So I want to talk to you a little bit about our master's programs to start off. We have 2 master's programs right now at NYU Abu Dhabi, and that is the MFA in Art and Media and the MSc in Economics. These are located fully at the Abu Dhabi campus, and they're full-time programs that are unique to the region. And so to look first at the MFA in Art and Media, this is a 2-year program for people who want to focus on the studio arts. So imagine drawing, painting, sculpture, installation, printmaking. And in this program, you know, each student does have their own personal studio space. There's a lot of emphasis on one-on-one instruction, working directly with our faculty, you know, working with local artists who might come in and visit the studio, local curators who come in as well. And so this program, it's really not, it's not like a graphic design program or anything like that, but it's really for somebody who wants to be a professional artist or be a faculty member. Perhaps it is a terminal degree. So people with an MFA can go on to teach at the university level. The Master's of Science in Economics is a 1-year program. And you know, a lot of these Master's of Science in Economics, they're 2-year programs. Instead, we jam-pack this into 1 year. And it's a program that is focused on the dialogue between theory and practice. And so you're learning kind of in the first semester a lot of foundational mathematics skills, foundational economics, and then learning how to apply that in the second semester and going on until your final project. You know, we like to highlight how students are sharing space with the faculty, where your desk spaces, it's right in the same area where the faculty have their desk space as well. And so this idea of dialogue, it's not just about what goes on in the curriculum, but it's about the community that's sort of set up here, where you're just continuing to chat about this, you know, whether it's, you know, over at the water cooler, or I know our economics faculty just brought in IMF the other day, the International Monetary Fund, and they had, you know, a 2-hour seminar with leaders over there. And so we want to connect to like the growing impact of economics in the UAE and the MENA region right now. And so you might ask, like, why, you know, economics? Why would I be interested potentially in economics? You know, and this is something where you can take quantitative skills and apply it to real world problems. So we've seen right now there's over 2,600 jobs in the Gulf region alone. And in the US, we've seen that there's a projected growth rate of 13%. For economics. And so we wanted to create this program to kind of start off and meet this need that is in this region, and to see, the UAE and the Gulf becoming a bigger player on the global economics scale. Why NYU AD? Well, we are one of the best universities in the world. We've been ranked number 24 by Times Higher Ed as a global university. Our economics program has been ranked number 11 by US News. Our economics faculty have been ranked number 5 for their research in Asia right now. And so we know that this is a great place where great research is being done. Why NYU AD? Again, this is it's going through here. We have one of the most diverse campuses in the world. Our undergraduate population, we have students from over 120 different nationalities. Our PhD and master's programs, we see, I think PhD last year, we had 35 students from 28 different nationalities. Our economics program, every single student is from a different citizenship. And so we like to take advantage of this, of the UAE being both a cultural and geographical crossroads, where the additional learning that you're getting is from your classmates, and it's from the faculty that are coming from all over the world that are in there. Who are we looking for economics? So first and foremost, we want students with a passion for economics, but we are really looking at students who have a strong quantitative background. So if you've done math, physics, or engineering, and you want to learn how to take those skills that you've learned and apply them to a social science and to solving the kind of problems that come up, whether it's behavioral economics, there's all sorts of different ways that you can apply these skills that you've learned in the field of economics. And this program can be for students looking for a career in academia or for a career in the public or private sector as well. Like, we can kind of create a track that works for either way, for whether if you want to go on to a PhD or if you want to just get right back into the workforce. So now I want to talk a little bit about our global PhD fellowships. And so the program highlight for these, there's 1 to 2 year programs. I'm not sure why it's skipping around. These are 4 to 5 year programs where students complete the first 1 to 2 years in New York. The years 3 to 4, you come back from your time in New York to Abu Dhabi, where you complete your research and your dissertation. You're considered a student on both campuses. You have full access to the resources both in New York and in Abu Dhabi when you're a part of this program. So the current schools that we partner with for this global PhD fellowship, first is the Tandon School of Engineering. We have programs in chemical, biomedical, electrical, computer science, mechanical, civil, and transportation planning, engineering. And then with the NYU Graduate School of Arts and Science, we have biology, chemistry, computer science, physics, and psychology. Though we don't have a clinical track for psychology right now, just social and cognitive and perception, and a little bit of applied psychology. So what are the benefits for the PhD programs? Well, there's no tuition fees. We actually pay you a stipend of $31,000 per year to be a part of the program. We do provide housing on campus while you're in Abu Dhabi, and then we give you an additional stipend for the year that you're in New York. As part of the program, we cover the necessary flights that you have to go back and forth between New York and Abu Dhabi. We have research startup stipends and relocation stipends that you get, and then there are competitive travel awards that you can apply for every semester. No matter which one of our programs that you're in, you are going to have available some great benefits through our Career Development Center. We have a person on our staff, Rafi, whose job is just to work with graduate students on helping them find jobs. And Rafi does everything from arranging CV workshops to bringing in hosting industry leaders locally and internationally on campus, arranging panels to talk about careers in academia or careers in the public or private sector. And all of these sort of workshops and everything that you can do, these public speaking workshops, these are all free for all of our students who are a part of the program. Rafi also maintains a sort of a LinkedIn group where he puts all of the recent job postings that he think might be good for our community. And so he's updating that almost every day with new things that he comes across. And then one of the benefits too for our PhD students is after you've spent your time in New York, you can qualify for CPT and OPT in the US. So you can potentially go back and stay in the US and do a job or an internship there, and then take advantage of New York's career service and Wasserman Career Center there as well. And our alumni, we have some great, strong job placements so far in academic positions in the public and private sectors. I know for our economics program, 100% of our graduates have had a job or an academic placement within 6 months of graduating. Some of the places where you would see our graduates, international companies like Amazon, Tesla, Qualcomm, National Institute of Health in the UK, and then some great academic positions too, Florida State, University of Washington, University of Chicago, NYU Abu Dhabi, of course, as well. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how you're going to apply if you are interested in these. So for the master's programs, the application deadline for this year is January 15th. So it's coming up in just about a month from now. There's no application fee for these programs. The apps are submitted through our NYU Abu Dhabi website. And then all the requirements are listed there. If you are interested in the MFA program, there's a portfolio requirement where you have to submit 20 images of your work. That's part of this. Is there funding available for a master's program? The answer is yes. We have generous both merit and needs-based scholarships available for all applicants. Generally, these cover between 30 and 80% of the tuition costs, but they can cover all the way up to 100%. What we like to say that is like, even if you get 100% tuition costs are covered, you still would expect to have to pay something towards your living expenses, housing, living in the UAE as well. Most, I'd say on average, again, most of our students are not receiving a full 100%, but they are receiving generous scholarships towards tuition. We do have some limited teaching and research fellowship positions available where you can work up to 15 hours a week and earn some extra money towards your living expenses. And then we do have the on-campus housing that's available at a reduced cost as well. This is skipping all over the place. PhD applications. The application deadline for a lot of our programs actually was December 1st. If you are still interested in one of these programs, I know computer science, I believe the application is still open today. I think it might close in the next day or two. Chemistry is also, I believe, closes the 18th, and physics is at the 30th. Of December is when the application deadline is. All of our engineering ones is December 1. If you are still interested in applying, send me an email for this year and I can see what I can do about the potential of submitting a late application. All the requirements, so it's a little bit different. You don't apply through the NYU Abu Dhabi website for these programs, but you actually apply directly through the NYU partner schools, either NYU Tandon or NYU GSAS. And you would just check the box on the application to say that you are interested in the Abu Dhabi campus. All the requirements are listed there. A lot of our programs do require the GRE, though it's not all of them anymore. And so you'll want to check on the website for that. We do require TOEFL or IELTS. The engineering program accepts the Duolingo test. If you have completed 4 years of instruction in English or a master's degree previously where the language of instruction was English, you can apply for a waiver for the language test. And this is the same for PhD and for our master's applications as well. So yeah, so I want to open the floor to any questions you may have. I see that there are a few submitted in the Q&A right now, and so I can take a look at these. Do they offer undergraduate MBBS courses as well, or is that only offered at a master's level? So we do have a full undergraduate admissions team here. I would encourage you to reach out to them to ask questions about applying for the undergraduate program. I know the early application deadline has passed, but I think there's one more. They're still accepting some answers there. And so if you reach out to them, I'll take the email into the question here. They would be able to give you all the information you need about the undergraduate programs. If I'm applying late for a PhD in ECE, can I get the funding? Yes, as long as you submit your application all of our students are eligible for the funding, no matter when they submitted the application. I know that Tandon might be closing if they have not closed the application already. If you are having trouble submitting, please send me an email. I'll type it in the chat in just a second here, and I'll be able to try to work with Tandon to help you out.
So we have one question from Jabran. He's asking, does NYU offer PhD in biology at Abu Dhabi campus, and can he apply now?
Yeah, and so we do offer the PhD in biology. Unfortunately, the application for that one, for this deadline has passed. I know that application deadline is passed, but we will be accepting applications next fall. It's usually mid-November is when the biology program applications are due. And so you can apply again next September, next October, when the applications open for fall 2024.
Perfect.
I see a question here. Are there only 2 programs for the masters? Yes, right now we just have 2. We are working on launching a number of new programs, both masters and PhD. I know next fall we will be launching our first, it's a PhD in astrophysics and space science that will be coming in. And we're hoping to add an MBA program. We're hoping to add a master in data science and a few other PhD programs as well. My email, I will put in the short version here so that you can have it. Go. Do we offer a PhD in public policy or public administration? Right now, we do not at NYU Abu Dhabi, but NYU New York does. And so if you check out NYU New York's webpage, you'll be able to find more information about their PhD in public policy. Okay, I'm trying to apply for a PhD in cybersecurity field or computer science. Is it still open today, tomorrow? Yes. So this application for computer science is still open today, and it should be open, I believe, until it'll be on New York time, so probably midnight tomorrow, New York time.
We have a question asking, is applying enough to get a PhD scholarship, or should we reach out to professors as well?
Yeah, I know there's a lot of PhD programs where you have to, sort of get the agreement from the professor before you apply for the program that they're willing to supervise you. We don't require that with NYU Abu Dhabi, but it is really encouraged that you do reach out to potential faculty ahead of time. One of the things that's good to know for that is, not every faculty member is taking students every single year. And so you might want to reach out and ask them to say, hey, I'm really interested in joining your group. Are you potentially recruiting students this year? Because you wouldn't want to pay the $110 admission or application fee and realize that that faculty member actually isn't taking on anybody during this year. So I encourage you to reach out to them. If you go to our webpage for NYU Abu Dhabi, on every one of the PhD program pages, there is a tab for people. And that list will have all of the faculty who supervise PhD students. You can take a look at their research interests, and their email will be on those pages. And so you're welcome to just email the faculty directly to connect with them, ask them any questions, ask them about whether they're taking students for this next year.
We have a question. Someone's asking, do alums from the MS Economics program, do they go into work in the public sector of UAE ever, or?
Yeah, and so what I've seen from our Master of Science in Economics graduates, about half of them have gone the academic route, and about half of them have gone on to work in the public sector, and so our public and private sector. I know one of our alumni is working for Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, ADIA, which is one of the great sort of economic powerhouses here that has a lot of the funding for the whole country. And then another one actually works in the Abu Dhabi Executive Office as well. And so we have had people there. One of our students just got a job working for Deloitte here as well. And then we've got a student working for Oxford Economics. And yeah, I think those, I'm trying to think of, there's another one who's in a think tank in London, I believe right now as well. So yeah, we've had people go in, right into the workforce with this degree. and have been able to find great jobs here in the UAE and abroad.
We have another question asking, do you guys provide fee waivers for admission application for PhD for international students?
So the applications through the Graduate School of Arts and Science, so that's all the science programs, there's not a fee waiver available for those, but applications through engineering, you can get a fee waiver, and then ones our master's programs, there's no fee. And so you can just apply for that. But yeah, you can apply for the fee waiver for engineering, not for science, and then there's no fee for NYU Abu Dhabi's master's programs.
We have Asif's asking us if you could guide about any management sciences or business administration programs at NYU Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, we currently don't have one right now, but we are working on launching an MBA program. I'm hoping that this will be launched. I don't think it'll be next year. I think it'll be the year after, but it's sometime in the next 2 years. We're hoping to get that off the ground. So check back with us next fall, and we might have a little bit more information about that one.
Yes, and another question similar to that, they're asking, do you offer masters in journalism or communications yet?
We do not right now. Again, and I'll put a list of all of our programs if you actually, let me pull up the link right now. We're a fairly small campus, NYU Abu Dhabi, and so we're still, in a sense, growing. And our graduate programs, we just have a limited number of options right now, but we're planning on adding probably 1 to 3 new programs every year for the next few years in the future. So keep checking back with us if we don't have the program that you are interested in right now. We may be adding it sometime in the future. And here, I'll add the link to the list of our programs. I'll put that in the chat here.
We have a question from Adil. He's asking, while evaluating applications for PhD admissions, what are the most important features you observe? Either is it credentials or TOEFL score, GRE scores?
Yeah, and with NYU Abu Dhabi, and I know NYU as well, we do, what is called a holistic review of the application. And so we're looking at everything that you submit. But the difference between, say, undergraduate admissions and PhD or master's admissions, it's really much more about your fit for the program, and so you should be mentioning in your statement of purpose, like very specific faculty or very specific research that you want to be involved with at NYU Abu Dhabi. And so once we see, what it is that you want to review, instead of like a committee, say like of admissions officers like me, most admission decisions for these graduate programs are made by the faculty. And so it's that faculty member kind of choosing, who they think is going to be the best person to work in their lab for 4 years or 5 years with them. And so things that they are looking for, they're going to look at your GPA. If there are test scores, I'd say we at least need to see sort of a minimum on TOEFL, but if you kind of get past that, like 105, 7.0, that between TOEFL and IELTS, we don't necessarily care as much about, did you get a higher score than that? We just want to see that you can manage being in an all English language environment, which is what all of our courses are taught in English. And while there's lots of languages spoken on campus, most formal things are conducted in English. We do look at GPAs. We look at, have you published any research? Have you been involved in any research? And we have people from lots of different things. Like we have people who come into the program straight from undergraduate programs, and we have people who have maybe been working as a research scientist or working in the industry for a few years who then apply to come back. And so again, it's really based on the faculty themselves, and that's where I think connecting with the faculty is important to see what is it that they are looking for. Some might be looking for more certain types of research experience compared to others. There's not like all of our chemistry students have this sort of thing. It is very specific based on the faculty.
We have another question. Is a professor acceptance letter required for PhD programs or not, especially in light of physics?
Yeah, it is not required for the programs. You can't apply without having an acceptance letter.
Someone says that they lost their connection. So if you could repeat the part about both the PhD and graduate fee waivers, if that's possible.
Yeah, so for the fee waivers, NYU Graduate School of Arts and Science does not have any waivers for the fee. NYU Tandon, you can ask for a fee waiver for them, and then NYU Abu Dhabi, all of our applications are free, and so you don't have to pay a fee for us.
Again, you also send the link. I reshared the link, but which contains all the programs, but someone wants to know if you offer PhD in food science and technology or related programs like food safety.
Yeah, so let me go through. I see a bunch of questions about specific programs here in the Q&A. I'll try to rapid fire answer these real fast. We do not have food science right now, but there are a number of studies in biology, even in I think psychology, chemistry that may relate, have some research that relates to that, but we don't have one specifically for food sciences right now. We do not have a degrees in international relations at the moment either. NYU New York does. We do offer diplomas in computer science. We actually have two. There's computer science on the science side of things, and we have computer science on the engineering side of things. And so think more software on the science side, more hardware on the engineering side, but we do offer both. Let's see. So for psychology, we don't have clinical psychology at NYU Abu Dhabi right now. NYU Steinhardt in New York does have a great clinical psychology program, but we have not been able you need a lot of faculty and you need a lot to organize that. And so we don't have any clinical faculty on the Abu Dhabi campus right now. So we do not have that program. Is the NYU Cyber Fellow program only online? I don't know very much about that program because it's run through New York. I would encourage you to reach out to the admissions team for that program directly to see how it is offered. Let's see. Mathematics. We don't offer one specifically in mathematics right now. A lot of our mathematics students go for physics. We've had a lot of students who have gone over from mathematics to physics, and there's a lot of shared faculty between the two. And we have a mathematics program. They've been thinking of launching a program, but they haven't done it yet. So I would check again with us next year if you're still looking for a program, to see if we were able to get that one up and running, or take a look at our physics faculty and see what kind of research that they're doing to see if that's of interest to you as well.
We have a bit of it's a slightly complicated question, but hopefully you could provide some assistance on that. Someone's asking, they've done their master's from the UK with a 2-1. Can they get an IELTS or TOEFL waiver? And then their second question is, how can they set their UK 2-1 ratio to the USA GPA system? Would they need to do that, or would NYU, once they get their transcripts, just do that on their own?
Yeah, so we do that on our own. Our admissions team will train, whether you are coming from the UK system or any other grading system, we will translate the scores to what we need for our admission review. If you have done a master's degree in the UK, you can get a waiver for the IELTS and TOEFL. You again, as long as your transcripts clearly state that the instruction was in English, then we're happy to grant a waiver for IELTS and TOEFL.
Someone's asking, do they need GRE for master's studies? Is it a requirement or is it optional?
It is optional. For the econ program, it's optional. We do not look at your application negatively if you choose not to submit. But what I would say is, if you have already taken the GRE and you have a good score and you want to put that into your master's application, that's perfectly fine. I would say don't don't take the GRE just to submit it for this program. We're moving away from a lot of standardized testing in our application reviews. So we'll look at it, but we don't consider the GRE very highly when making our decisions.
Someone's asking if they can enroll in an online mode for the PhD program, or is it fully in person?
Yeah, we only offer fully in person right now. for our programs, and it is necessary to do the coursework in New York as well. You can't do the coursework in Abu Dhabi at the moment. You do have to go to New York to do that part of the program.
Someone's also asking, could you provide an idea about how many applications NYU received each year for their biology PhD, and what is generally the acceptance rate?
Yeah, I mean, we usually accept probably 1 to 3 students per year for each of the science programs. It really depends on the faculty and what they're taking at the time. And I would say overall, we're receiving probably around 100 applications or more for each program. And so it is a very competitive program, and the acceptance rate is quite low if I'm doing my math correctly there. So yeah, these are competitive programs, but that's why we give a great scholarship, we give a great stipend and great other benefits for people who join for that. So yeah, so don't be discouraged because there's a low acceptance rate, and we've had lots of students. I would say maybe Pakistani students is probably the third highest percentage of students that we've had, but it's probably between Pakistan, India, and China. So we've had lots of students who have come from great schools in Pakistan to come here and join the program. So yeah, don't be encouraged by low acceptance rates. Be encouraged to apply.
We have a question asking, do you have any cutoff TOEFL score requirements for PhD programs? Because on your university website, this person's not able to figure out the minimum requirements.
Yeah, I believe the minimum is a 6.5 and a 100 or 105. I know we actually are we're working on solidifying those, because we had some different things in the past about we used to not have any minimums, but now we're being required by the UAE government and the central accreditation agency that's here to have some minimums for TOEFL and IELTS scores. So we should have that updated by the January 15th deadline. We're still just working out some of the finals.
Also, somebody asked me this earlier as well, but so with OPT and CPT, you mentioned it with the PhD program. If you do the master's program, would that still apply to you? Could you still go to the US and do your OPT and CPT?
Yeah, with the master's programs in Abu Dhabi, part of the reason that students in the PhD programs can qualify for OPT and CPT is that they spend physical time in New York, and they're there for more than 6 months doing the program. And so there's a minimum amount of time in the US you have to be in residence for in order to qualify for OPT and CPT. Our master's programs do not have any US component right now. We are working on ways that people who have completed a master's can qualify for a longer visa in the UAE, say a 5 or 7 year visa. We're hoping that by the time this next class comes through, that we will have that worked out with the Abu Dhabi government as well. But yeah, there's nothing for Abu Dhabi masters that will allow for CPT or OPT in the US.
Yeah. We have a question. They're asking, they've completed their PhD coursework in geography from a Pakistani university. Can they conduct their research from the US campus on a scholarship? I know it's a bit of a confusing question, but
yeah. And so what I would do, there's some, I know at NYU Abu Dhabi, we have a visiting students program where if you're currently enrolled in a PhD student, you can come and work under the guidance of a faculty member who's willing to sponsor you. I don't know how that works out in New York. And most of the time, I would say if these visiting students, there's usually not scholarships for them from NYU to go, we wouldn't have a scholarship that says, oh, a person from another university come and study with us as a visiting student. You would have to instead just apply for the program through there. I hope that makes sense.
Someone's asking, what is the maximum CGPA for PhD in physics?
I'm not sure if there's, I don't think there can be a maximum. But yeah, I would say on average, our students in physics probably come in with a GPA of, around a 3.5. I would say 3.5 to 4.0 on the US scale. So again, pretty competitive. I know we usually don't accept people below a 3.0. Sometimes either that is a set minimum, or it's just kind of the sort of standard. We usually don't see students who are rising to the top who have GPAs lower than a 3.0. The Duolingo test, I just see this on here, is accepted for the engineering applications, but not for the graduate school arts and science applications. Those ones that has to be either TOEFL or IELTS. Is there any earth science department involved? Yeah, I mean, you can look at, I would look more specifically at our research rather than the departmentals. We have biology, which sometimes works with some earth and life sciences. Same thing with chemistry, even physics, some of those that work through. So I would look at the research rather than, we don't have an earth science program specifically, but a lot of our faculty are doing interesting research in fields that might be related to that. I'm looking for, let's see, for undergraduate and social sciences. So actually, I don't work with undergraduate admissions very well. I would email their admissions team. I'll type it in the chat here for you, and they should be able to help answer your question for you. I do not believe the SAT is mandatory for the application.
I got a question a while back from someone applying for graduate studies to NYU Abu Dhabi and like the main NYU campus, that they did their bachelor's from the US, but due to some reason they finished it, they completed it, they aren't able to access their like original transcript. They do have a copy of their unofficial transcript. Once they're admitted on the basis of the unofficial transcript, would they need to submit the official transcript after?
We usually do require an official transcript, and that's part of our accreditation in the UAE is that we have to confirm an official transcript. What I would do if you're having trouble accessing that, just work with the admissions team when you apply. So if you're applying for either the PhD programs, you'd work with the admissions team at either NYU Tandon or NYU GSAS. If you're applying for the master's program, you'd work with my colleague Ken, who would help you with that part of the process as well. And we would do what we need to do to make sure that you get your official transcripts. I know sometimes there are things like, oh, this school has shut down, or like, this school no longer exists, and we will do our best to try and figure out what will work for you.
Someone's asking if they're in their last semester of like their bachelor's degree, would that be a good time to start applying for the master's program?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of students who come right out of their bachelor's degrees into master's and into some of our PhD programs too. Our science programs you can apply to with just a bachelor's degree. Engineering programs, you do need a master's degree before you can apply for those.
And this, again, probably you might not know much about it and they can just use the email you send them, but do you have like semester abroad, semester exchanges for like undergraduate studies from students coming to Pakistan?
That's one I do know. So NYU has 14 international campuses. We have 3 big portal campuses, which is New York, Abu Dhabi, and Shanghai. So those are larger campuses, but then we have smaller campuses that students do either a full semester, a full year, or what we also call a J-term. And so a J-term is like a 3-week program that would happen in January or in June. And so these programs are everywhere from, there's Sydney, there's Washington, DC, there's Accra, there is London, Florence, Berlin, Shanghai, there's campuses kind of all over the world. And so, yeah, that's part of the undergraduate experience. And I think all students are required to even do 1 semester if they go NYU Abu Dhabi. I think NYU New York, it's optional, but at NYU Abu Dhabi, I think everyone has to do at least a J-term or 1 semester at one of the other campuses. We do not have, just to answer this one, we do not have international law at NYU Abu Dhabi, but I believe they have it at the NYU Law School in New York.
We have a question. My CGPA is 3.22 in master's. Is it possible to apply for PhD in physics? Like, would they be eligible with the 3.22?
Yeah, and so again, you're definitely eligible, and they would look at your application. And we've had students, again, we don't always just look at the GPA. Like sometimes it requires us to look at both, like, what courses were you taking? Like, were you challenging yourself and taking hard courses? What school did your degree come from? Like, we know that certain schools are more rigorous than other schools. And so we take all of that into consideration when you're applying and when reviewing your application materials. And so, if you have a 3.22 GPA, that might be better than somebody who has a 3.5 GPA from a different institution, the way that our faculty look at it.
Often the questions we usually get is a lot about, like, for master's programs, the statement of purpose, basically the essay you have to write. Could you tell, like, what specific things for a master's statement of purpose, what are you as an admissions officer looking at, and what are like some things we want to see?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that we want to see is, why specifically do you want to go to our institution? What is it that stands out? Like, what is special about NYU Abu Dhabi for what you have planned for your career goals? Are there specific faculty here that you're interested in working with? Like, the more specific you can be about your reasoning for why you want to do the program and why you want to do the program at our institution, the better, your statement of purpose is going to come across. And we can, we collect your CV. And so there's not necessarily a need to go through everything that you've done. And that is like, so try to be more succinct and tell us about the important things that you've done and the things that you've done that are going to relate to your experience in applying for this program. Tell us about research projects that you've been a part of. Tell us about why you have a passion for economics, what career you hope to pursue in economics, and like, why is NYU Abu Dhabi or wherever it is that you're applying going to help you to get there?
And what are like some, you would say, like, big no-nos for like a statement of purpose, what you would not want to see?
What would we not want to see? Just make sure, proofread it. Make sure that somebody else has taken a look at it before you submit it. Again, we know most of the basic information about you. Like, we can see your CV, we can see the core, the whole list of courses that you've taken. Just with your statement of purpose, try to be, tell us more about what it is that we can't tell by looking at your transcripts and your CV. I think that's the best. There's not a lot of no-nos that I would say, but other than, just make sure that it's proofread, that it's, don't make it too long. That's probably the other thing. Like, if there is a word count or a word limit, make sure that you are under that word limit. Nobody wants to read an extra 1,000 words of your statement of purpose. There's a reason why the limits are there. And if there's not a limit, try to keep it to a page or less. Is what I would say. Like, be succinct. Don't feel like you have to go on and on and on about everything.
And someone's asking, are statement of purpose required for PhD programs?
Yeah, it looks a little bit different depending on the programs and how they might ask it, but a statement of purpose is generally a part of every application, and we have it as part of ours. You do need to submit, sort of an essay saying why you want to be in this program. So yes.
Someone's asking if they've given their IELTS or TOEFL test before admission. Do we have to give the test again for admission at NYU? I guess they're asking how long would the score be valid?
Yeah, IELTS and TOEFL scores are valid for 2 years. And so as long as you submit the application within 2 years of when you last took your TOEFL or IELTS test, your scores will still be valid. But if it's past 2 years, you cannot use old scores. You'd have to take again. If you're applying for NYU Abu Dhabi, I'd actually encourage you to do Duolingo. It's cheaper and faster, and you can do it from home. rather than having to set up a center. But IELTS and TOEFL are pretty much accepted everywhere. So if you're applying to multiple places, then you might be worthwhile to invest and do one of those two tests.
Another question we often get for like grad applications and applications in general is that they're giving their GRE, they're registered to give it, but it's like right after the deadline ends.
Yeah, and that's fine. Again, you want to try and get all of your materials in by the application deadline. There's a reason the deadlines exist. We know that sometimes, this is the only date the test can be taken. And so you just want to email the admissions team to let them know if there is a requirement that's missing when you submit your application to say, hey, I'm taking the GRE on December 18th. Or January 15th, because sometimes, for our PhD applications, if the GRE is required, we can't review the application until all the materials are submitted. And if you're not taking the GRE until February or something like that, we're reviewing in December and January, and we're not going to be able to review your application. We're not going to sit there and say, oh, we're waiting for the GRE to come in. We're just going to kind of say, well, application's not complete. We'll have to pass.
Okay. And I'm going to take two more questions. Someone's asking, would their online freelancing work experience count in job experience when they're applying for a master's program?
Yeah, I mean, you would want to put that on your CV when you're creating your resume. You can include your freelancing work that's on there, and yeah, we would consider that as experience.
Okay. And just one last time, because I know some people left, some people rejoined, if you could just like clarify one last time for them, the application fee for both PhD and master's program.
Yes. So for the application fee, applications through the Graduate School of Arts and Science in New York, so for our science programs, they do not allow, or they do not provide an application fee waiver for any international students. NYU Tandon, the engineering school, they will give some waivers if you email them and ask them nicely. They could potentially provide one for you. And then for NYU Abu Dhabi, we have no application fees. And so you can apply today for free if you'd like.
Okay, perfect. And I'm gonna come towards concluding our session. I first of all just want to thank you, Karl, for joining us. This session was really informative. I hope this was helpful for all our audience as well. And thank you for taking your time out. And
and again, if you need any help with your applications for us, please send me an email. I'll be happy to help. I hope we see some applications from you in the near future.
And do you have any more closing remarks first, Karl?
I don't think so. Again, just thank you for hosting me today. It's a pleasure to be here.
Perfect. And if anyone has any questions about today's sessions, you can go to our website, educationusa.pk, sign up for our free advising services, and you will be connected to an advisor and they can also answer that. And also don't forget to follow us on @EdUSA Pakistan on all social media platforms. That's for Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And we keep having these events regularly, so stay in touch on our website and see it. And I will now conclude the session. Hope everybody has a good evening. Thank you, Karl.
Take care. Have a good day.
Goodbye.